Okay, so Medallia is our new guest satisfaction platform. So this is, replacing our previous SMG website. There's some similarities to SMG, but a whole bunch of differences, I think, for the better. So we're just going to walk through navigating the website and make sure you guys are comfortable pulling your reports and exploring everything that this website has to offer. Of course, with COVID going on right now, guests are more cautious than ever of where they're going. We have tighter purse strings, so people are, putting more thought into where they spend their dollars. So we really want to make sure more than ever that our guests are satisfied and continue coming back to us. And this guest satisfaction platform is the easiest and best way for us to do that. So everyone should have their logins by now. So you'll go ahead and log into the website, and it's going to look something like this. Each level is going to have a little bit of a different layout and some different options, but generally this is what you see once you log in. So a few basics before we get started into all of the different tabs. We are done with the term GSS from here on out. We're going to be referring to what we used to call GSS as OSAT. And OSAT is going to stand for overall satisfaction. GSS, of course, stood for guest satisfaction survey or guest satisfaction score. Those terms are still relevant, but we want to make sure that we're moving on to referring it to as OSAT moving forward, as that's what it's called on this website. Although your OSAT score is not currently tied to your bonus, that might change in the future. So as I mentioned, the best way we're measuring our guest satisfaction, which of course correlates to our future sales. So we want to make sure that this score is an acceptable range. And as we learn more about how this platform works, we're going to be integrating it back into your bonus. Along with the website, there's also a mobile app available that's very user-friendly and a great way for you to just quickly check your score on a daily basis. So I encourage you all to download that app. There's also going to be some future additions to this platform that the brand is working on, including allowing you guys to give feedback to the brand on LTOs and promotions, allow customers to fill out the app through the Dunkin' app, fill out the survey through the Dunkin' app, as well as, a lot of other exciting things as this platform develops. If there's any, so up here at the top, you're going to see your name as well as your role, as well as the option to log out. Next to that, you'll see a bookmark tab. So if you're in any part of Medallia and you like what you see and you like the configuration of it, you can actually bookmark that page so that anytime you're logging back into Medallia, you can quickly get to the piece of information you're really driving down and looking for without having to go through the tabs and edit your filters. And then at any time, you can also easily export any of the information that you see on the current page in different formats, including PDF. Okay, and then up at the top here, we have all of these different tabs. So the first one being dashboard that we're going to explore first. Again, depending on your role, some of these are going to look a little bit different, but for the most part, you guys will see the same things. So here on the dashboard, you just get a quick view of all the data visualization that you can see throughout the website. You can interact with the data very easily by hovering or clicking, or just see it at a quick glance. So you can scroll down and see different components, including your overall OSAT, LTR, which stands for likelihood to recommend, different key scores over time, your key scores by day of the week, generally what the customers are saying. So we have, these really easy to see happy faces, neutral faces and sad faces. And like I mentioned, when you hover over, you can see a few more details about it, and then you click and it will take you to full details about the complaint, including the exact response time and the type of order that this guest had. It even goes down to giving you the receipt code if you wanted to go back into Radiant and explore it further, as well as the coffee or what was purchased. Then you'll see some of the segments of the guests, how they filled out their survey. So you can see anytime they wrote experienced a problem, that's going to automatically turn into a corporate complaint. So we do need to be cognizant that it's a lot more easy now for us to get an alert because this question is, built into the survey, as it wasn't as prominent on the last survey through SMG. If they also request to be contacted, their information will be included in the complaint, and we'll have to close it out as a regular corporate complaint. If they hit no on request to be contacted, but they still experience a problem, it will still be a corporate complaint, only an FYI complaint that we don't have to close out at the ASL level. So I just wanted to make sure to clarify that for you guys, that for each and every experience that the guest fills out a survey for, there's an abundance of information to help us drill down deeper into the underlying issue and be able to address it and fix it. Okay, so we'll just go back here, back to our dashboard. I also wanted to cover these filters. So again, at the store level, when you log in, all of this information will be specific to your store already. So this will be a little more useful at the ASL level, but also even at the store level, there's additional filters you can apply to see information, modified to exactly what you're looking for. But again, more for the ASL role, you can select different restaurants and just check mark them and then run that report. So the information displaying on this tab, on this page now will only be for the selected restaurants. The benchmark is what you want the information that you're pulling to be up against. So for instance, we can look at these 4 stores' performance against the DMA, which is basically the territory that you're in, or the operations director, which is your OM's boss and his area. So you can have that information kind of show you where you stand against the DMA. Okay, you can, if you like your filter, you can also save the filter and you title it whatever you want, and then you hit save, and then at any point you can access your save filters. So you can see here I have one for each of the ASLs as well as our Purple Plan stores. Okay, moving on to problem resolution tab. So this is just going to break down the data of those guests that told us that they experienced a problem. So 11% of the guests who filled out the survey for the filter that I've selected here have told us that they experienced a problem. Now, what this problem distribution looks like, you can see, further down here, the red kind of half circle just means that it's a lower sample size. It used to be grayed out on SMG. It just appears red here with a little half circle full. You can see whenever you get above 25, it'll turn black. Although the sample size is 25, we're still requiring 30 surveys per month. So that should still be what you're striving for. I'm just going to clear out this filter to get a bigger picture, and we'll look at current calendar month and run. Okay, so across all 3 networks for the current calendar month, 10% of our guests told us they experienced problems. And you can see those red circles have gone away now that we have larger sample sizes. So 106 experiences said they had a problem, 923 said they did not. So no is what we're looking for in this question. Did they tell the restaurant they had a bad experience, and did they request to be contacted? So you can see all that information down there. Then looking at which type of problems our guests experienced, the majority of them are accuracy of order, but in a very close second, and some networks that's in first is the service. So these are 2 big opportunities that we definitely have the ability to address. And then breaking down the problem experience even further, you can change the segment of the group to show, yes, speed of service was a problem for 28.6% of our guests in this week. So you can modify this data a lot and change it depending on the segment group. And then you can also look at the information in a table or a graph if whichever works for you to kind of absorb that data easier. So there's a lot of options there, as well as your problem addressed and where the problem was experienced, the type of product that was ordered when experiencing. So again, at the individual store level, you're going to really be able to identify your biggest opportunities really quickly using this tab and all the data available here. Okay, so the problem experience tab is just the guest, again, who told us they had a problem. The feedback tab is going to be all of our guest comments, all kind of filtered into one. So up here, it's going to summarize the word usage. So the bigger the word, the more frequently it was used. And they've categorized them into positive, neutral, and negative comments. Okay, so negative, for instance, we have coffee. This is clickable, so it will populate all of the negative complaints mentioning coffee, right below here. And then you'll also see that anytime there was an alert, that means it was one of the instances that turned into a corporate complaint. And you can see the overall score that they gave this on this survey was a 3, but it still turned into a corporate complaint because they notified us that they had an issue. So it's no longer just if you get a 1 on the survey, it turns into a corporate complaint. And then the likelihood to recommend score is also there for reference. That's on a 10-point scale, and that figure is very important to us. But it is overall score is going to be what we measure and what you guys will be bonused on in the future. So don't get confused between those 2 scores. You can also see over here the channel in which we received the complaint. Right now it's all going to say receipt-based, but in the future, guests are going to be able to scan a QR code located around the restaurants and be able to fill out surveys, and also be able to do it right within the Dunkin' app. So as we add more layers to how the guests can give us feedback, you'll see this column diversify a little bit. Anytime you change your tabs up here, whatever filters you saved at the top, so my current calendar month, stuck. Depending on which tab I flip over to, it doesn't matter. This will stick at the top. You can also drill down your again filtered down to different categories of what you're looking for. So if we want to just look at our speed of service comments, any comments that mention speed of service, to all for current calendar month, we'll run. We'll remove this coffee filter. And then you can see all the ones that rated us positive or negative for speed of service, all the corresponding complaints. So again, it's a lot of information here just because there's over 70 stores represented, but at the store level, once you're diving into your data, it should be really clean for you to see your biggest opportunities. And once again, as I demonstrated on the first tab, on that dashboard tab, you can click through on any of these comments and see the detailed report. For our happy guests who fill out that they were highly satisfied and likely to recommend, they're not going to ask as many questions. So you can see that here. There's not that long list of check marks, yes or no, because they were happy with their visit. All right, moving on to our ranker tab. So again, this is going to be primarily used for the ASLs. It's a way that you guys can rank your stores, and then for the directors at a network level, you guys can rank your stores. You're also able to do it, with our benchmark to show how we're doing against the DMA. And then you're able to also flip over to a time and a bar graph. It's usually pretty quick. So this will just break down the different weeks and what the scores were. I think the bar graph is a great visual. To kind of show, it's like, again, especially at the ASL level where you guys have, 5 to 8 stores to look at, you can kind of see how everyone stacks up against each other. Okay. Data analytics is where you can, again, it's a little bit of a repeat of some of the information you can access on the other tabs. But just kind of gives you an overall look at the trend and how we stack up against the DMA in a variety of categories. Health check is just your amount of surveys. So making sure that we're on track to have enough surveys to be a good enough sample size for the data to be legitimate. But you can of course see that on the other tabs that we were looking at earlier. And I believe that is all of the basics of the website. So I'm going to pause right now to see if there's any questions in the chat feature. Hopefully you guys are all following along and I wasn't moving too quickly. If you have a question, feel free to type it in now. But I encourage you guys all to log on, get familiar with it, play around, click around. There's a lot of clickable things, a lot of filters you can set to help you, kind of break the information down for you, for you to use in a usable way, coach your teams on. But like I said, we might not have OSAT or GSS number tied to your bonus right now, but it's still an extremely important measure. We're fighting for sales, so our guest feedback is paramount. We need to make sure that we're keeping our guests happy, so they return on future visits. But there's no questions. I'm available on GroupMe or email if you guys do think of anything. And with that, we will conclude today's call, and I hope everyone has a great day. Thanks.